Welcome to the Miracle Network's Wednesday meditation. I'm so glad we're all here to share this time together. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to click the subscribe button below to receive updates and notifications. Today we're joined by Hakim Hamza, who will lead us in meditation, and then we have 20 minutes of silence. And after that, we open it up for sharing, and we end at 10:45. Over to you, Hakim.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I want to start by saying um, we can experience the peace of God right here and now in this moment and have a touch of reality reflected in this dream, even now. It doesn't have to be so far away. The thing to how we let reality be reality is by not imposing our judgments on it. Our will, our specialness demands on it. So if we don't do it, reality will already be there. It's not that hard in one sense. If one just see one's own part in this whole thing and withdraw that part. But we have to understand when the Course says you are not here, that will be our experience if we do this. But that's why we have the judgments, as to not see that we don't exist as a separate entity. By constantly imposing our judgments, our will, our specialness demands, we prove that Jesus lies in A Course in Miracles. We prove that reality is not reality. We prove that the ego is right. But that's the whole thing. We have to constantly judge for that to happen. For us to have a sense of me that is different from others, we have to impose guilt, either onto ourselves or others. And we can only do that by judging. An autonomous existence and guilt go hand in hand. If we don't judge, we won't have the existence. So I will read from a passage from the workbook called What is Forgiveness? Because I find that this the first part kind of slightly goes into judgment, and the second part goes into forgiveness. But this time it's the forgiveness that is still and quietly does nothing. It's not talking about necessarily the projections and withdrawing them. It's talking about looking. You know, when we don't judge, once again, reality can have its say. Reality will be there. And the experience of not being here as separate will actually emerge. It's a very real experience. But after I read this, when we go into the 20 minutes meditation, the idea is not that we don't judge. It's that we, as the text will say, it quietly does nothing to the judgments. So let your ego roam free, not in the sense of indulgence, not in the sense of justifying its judgments, but we have to see the illusions for what they are. That the problem is not that we're judging, it's that we're judging ourselves for judging. If we can just look at the judgments, they can fade away easily. Then it's just a matter of time. So during this meditation, feel free to judge, feel free to say this, what an uncomfortable seat I have. I wish my day goes this way. I want to change things this way and that way. You're free to do so. But do this part do the part where I'm coming to about forgiveness, that it's still and does nothing. Okay, so I will start reading now. Once again, this is from the workbook, What is Forgiveness? What is forgiveness? Forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. It does not pardon sins and make them real. It sees there was no sin, and in that view are all your sins forgiven. What is sin except a false idea about God's Son? Forgiveness merely sees its falsity and therefore lets it go. What then is free to take its place is now the will of God. An unforgiving thought is one which makes a judgment that it will not raise to doubt, although it is not true. The mind is closed and will not be released. The thought protects projection, tightening its chains so that distortions are more veiled and more obscure, less easily accessible to doubt, and further kept from reason. What can come between a fixed projection and the aim that it has chosen as its wanted goal? An unforgiving thought does many things. In frantic action, it pursues its goal, twisting and overturning what it sees as interfering with its chosen path. Distortion is its purpose and the means by which it would accomplish it as well. It sets about its furious attempts to smash reality without concern for anything that would appear to pose a contradiction to its point of view. On the other hand, is still and quietly does nothing. It offends no aspect of reality, nor seeks to twist it to appearances it likes. It merely looks and waits and judges not. He who would not forgive must judge, for he must justify his failure to forgive. But he who would forgive himself must learn to welcome truth exactly as it is. Do nothing then, and let forgiveness show you what to do, through him who is your guide, your savior and protector, strong in hope and certain of your ultimate success. He has forgiven you already, for such is his function given him by God. Now must you share his function and forgive whom he has saved, whose sinlessness he sees, and whom he honors as the Son of God.
open your eyes and come back into the room. We have 16 minutes left for sharing. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand and I'll invite you to take yourself off mute. Jim, take yourself off mute.
Yes, thank you, Dan, and thank you, Hakim. Yes, it was good to be reminded of the need not to judge the judging, because that's a big ego trick that I have. The ego will do anything to get us trapped in its belief system, and that's one of the main ones. It did come up in the meditation. A few things came up that I saw judging about, and there was also this immediate response of judging it. And I was able to drop that quite quickly based on what you shared with us. So thank you very much for that.
I mean, see how you in a way you're smiling when you're saying that. That is the gentleness, right, of the course. That it's not about being perfect spiritual selves that doesn't judge. That's not it. It's to see that in one sense you could say it like this. It might sound sacrilegious or something, but we're actually free to judge. It's just that why would we want to? You know, we don't let God in our hearts. Then we will have immense guilt. The consequences are huge. We get disconnected from love. But you know, this looking that forgiveness does, it kind of comes with the freedom. The ego must be free to do what it does. Why is it free? Because the ego is nothing. If of course you can let nothing be free, but that is the whole thing. The moment we say the ego mustn't do this, we're saying obviously it's real. That's why forgiveness does nothing. It just merely looks. It looks at nothing trying to be something. That's it.
Who would like to share? Lottie?
Yes, thank you for that. I was taken back to today's lesson, this morning's lesson about forgiveness and salvation, both being equally useless, really, because they are both trying to correct something which has never happened and isn't real. And I needed that bit of emphasis today. Thank you very much.
John?
Yeah, thank you, Hakim. And firstly, it's lovely to be back at a time, Vernon, where we can join, because I really missed this, and that was such a beautiful reminder. And what came to my mind was Jesus' line when he says, the only problem is when the Son of God remembered not to laugh. Because what I realize is that's like you said, the gentleness is the smiling and laughing at it. And it's so easy. I find myself judging, and I have a little tool, because I think I always have a little analogy of the ego is like a little child tugging on my trousers for my attention and wanting my attention. And that any of you that have got children know that the more you ignore them, the more they tug. So I have a little tool which just helps me. Anyway, I always say, thank God I hear what you say, and thank God it's not true. And that puts me back into feeling. But if I just try to annoy it and push it away, like you're saying, you know, no, it doesn't work. And then just laugh at it, say. And it's a great reminder. So that was just a lovely reminder. Thank you so much. It's lovely to be back.
Thank you for saying all of that. That reminds me, the child, tucking on your pants and clothes, it's, it's the ego. The thing is, we can only forgive if we see the child and if we dare to meet the child. Forgiveness needs our ego, right? In otherwise, what do we forgive? But if we feel guilty for the ego, we will say, "Go away, child. Go away, so I can't forgive you." But to let the child, like you opening the door, let all children come and touch me and drag me, that is saying, I want to forgive everything, every child, right? But the thing is, once the child comes up, don't take it personal. It is not your ego. You are not the ego. So what's there to kind of avoid, right? If it's not you, it's not personal. So the fact is, we actually should only be happy when we see our judgments. In one sense, it was, if we can learn that the judgment is nothing, it's such a powerful thing. The kindness is beneath, is after we have forgiven the judgments. Like, that's how we come to the kindness, to see that. But if we say, no, I just want to not judge and have a good life, we will never come to that gentleness, that kindness, that not of this worldness, that can only come if we learn to see the child. Let the child be there. Let it do exactly what it wants. Scream. Not only is it dragging on your pants, it's throwing ink at them. Your favorite pants, your most expensive pants. It's been going down the family lines in generations. Let it do what it does. And to learn that if I can forgive this child for destroying my pants, man, that is Jesus' forgiveness, right? That is the level. That is imagine the kindness, the place you must be in to do that. So, I mean, maybe not say to do that, but to come in touch with that, if you can forgive. So it's only the child can bring you that opportunity for the gentleness. So yeah, he might destroy your child if he's let's say it's a boy. He might destroy your pants, but he may not. He may awaken your love, and that is the real valuable thing.
Thank you.
Who'd like to share? Ayu, and then Norman.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Hakim. I'd like to share this very, very vivid dream I had last week. That my teeth was fallen. So it was so vivid, so I could taste the blood and the sensation of all this gum was falling, and it was not nice. So in that dream, I thought myself, I need to find out this is a truth or dream. So this, I would call it as in my dream, the first layer of the dream, I woken up. And before wake up, I was in the bed. And because I was holding a tooth, so if I woken up, if I was still holding the tooth on my palm, this must be real. And then when I woke up, my teeth was in my hand. I felt that teeth. Oh, this is real. So I went to the bathroom because I was still feeling that tooth was falling. I saw the mirror, blood was coming out. My bathroom was full of a blood pool. So I went to the panic. I went to my husband's bedroom. Simon needed help, and he woken up, and don't you worry. I was panicking. And then I thought myself, is this also truth or dream? I need to wake up again. And then if I was still feeling that the tooth was falling, this must be real. And then finally I woken up, and then I felt that my hands was clenching like this. And I quickly checked my teeth. Oh, still there. So that was a dream, second layer of a dream, but I was able to consciously wake up in the dream. But the point I was want to make was the sensations were so real. Smell, color, and the feeling of a tooth falling was so real. And in that dream, it was a good reminder, I use as a teaching method to tell myself that no matter how I feel so truth in here, maybe not real. Well, it's not real, so it's said in the book, but the sensations, it tell us, but trick us in here. Use the body sensation. It was amazing what brain or mind can do to me. So that's what I wanted to share, because it was so emotionally, physically, like what we experience here, believable, So it was a good lesson for me.
Yeah, it's very interesting what you're saying, but the thing is, in one sense, there is even another layer to wake up, as the course calls the secret dream. The secret dream are the judgments, right? So that makes the whole fair real. Then you can be in the same dream with the teeth falling out, the blood and everything, but there won't be any negative experience of it. Of course, the taste of blood can be there, but you won't suffer of the taste of blood. It might feel uncomfortable, but there won't be a mental suffering of the taste of blood, of losing the teeth. And that is the real awakening, to let the dream be as it is, but I'm not fighting it anymore. I'm not scared anymore. Guilt needs to hide. If you are prepared to look, the guilt cannot hide. Right.
Norman, would you like to share?
Yes, sorry about that. Thank you very much. Your remark about doing nothing reminds me about 20 years ago. I went into a chemist shop, and what took me in there, I have no idea. But a lady had wrenched her knee, and someone had set her on a chair, and the assistant had gone off to get a bandage to wrap it up. And I just looked in her eyes, and I saw pain, and I looked at her knee, and I thought, that just looks like a knee to me. Well, I didn't really think anything. And I looked back into her eyes again, and the pain was gone. And by this time, the assistant had tidied it up. And somebody asked her, "How's your knee now?" And she looked straight at me and said, "He fixed it." So I just walked out. But as I say, I wish to goodness I could keep that in my mind all the time. Because sometimes when I read the course and it said I need do nothing, it perplexes me, because I'd totally forgotten about that experience. And I can't even remember if I was doing the course at the time. It was so long ago that I probably wasn't. Just had an open mind and an open heart, so at least now that I've remembered, I intend not to forget it. Thank you very much.
Who would like to share?
I can just say the final 2 minutes. We can all go about our days, once again, not as spiritual selves, not as clean selves. No, we need to give Jesus our judgments and our ego. So allow yourself today to have that freedom. I tell myself that we all allow ourselves to have that freedom of being egoic. The only thing we do with it, we're looking at it still, recognizing its consequences, recognizing that it's a defense against the love, and we're only judging because we're afraid to come to the love. Once again, forgiveness needs our ego. Don't deny the ego, don't shy away from the ego. Let the ego be. Let the child do what it wants. But look at it without fear and judgment.
Well, that's a good note to end on. Thank you, Hakim, for leading us in meditation, and thank you all for being here today. Take yourself off mute and show your appreciation to Hakim.
Thank you, Hakim.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hakim. Thank you, Thank you. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Beautiful pictures. Yes.